Gamification is the use of game elements in non-game systems to provide a game-like experience and influence user motivation and engagement. It is of great and diverse interest within and beyond research. Yet, one critical question raised early on through foundational studies, theoretical predictions, and previous surveys has remained open: the effect of removing gamification or un-gamifying a system. Theories, experts, and some evidence indicate that positive effects may not remain after removal, and that a negative outcome may occur, especially with reliance on extrinsic motivators. Consensus on the evidence to date and what needs to be researched is urgently needed. If there are any negative effects upon removing gamification, they could be wide-scale, and if not reported, they could be invisible. I therefore asked, what is the nature of the research and findings on removing gamification? A rapid review was conducted. Rapid reviews are appropriate for focused, well-defined, and time-sensitive research questions. A version of the PRISMA checklist, adapted for HCI purposes, was used to guide the rapid review process and structure the reporting of results. I conducted all database searches, data extraction, and data analyses alone. For greater rigor and accountability, I registered this protocol before data extraction. From 52 papers, 8 papers, with 8 studies, were selected. The results of 2 papers were not reported due to their preprint status or missing results. Table 1 shows the study and gamification characteristics. All studies were conducted in field. Half had an educational context. Most relied on quantitative measures. Most used a quasi-experimental design, with non-experimental components being lack of hypotheses, lack of randomization, lack of control groups, and so on. All studies employed a longitudinal design, but time frames varied for both the study and gamification phases. All studies were focused on the effects of gamification removal. Reasons given were isolating the influence of removal on behavior or determining maintenance of gamification effects over time. Table 2 shows the variables, measurement, and valence of findings. Most studies reported mixed or negative effects. For example, De Paula-Porto et al. Found that even though gamification initially increased the speed of timesheet entry, speeds dropped by over half after removal. In contrast, Van Nieuwland et al. Found that exam scores and course grades remained high even after gamification removal. Given the small pool of studies and various methodological issues, firm conclusions should not be drawn. More work is needed to strengthen and expand and potentially refute these findings. To this end, based on the state of the literature, I propose a research agenda. We need to extend the literature by experimentally removing gamification. Tightly controlled experiments with comparative pre-post, crossover, and/or control group designs are recommended. We must pinpoint the effects of elements and their removal. We also need to consider a variety of measures at the individual and group levels. Possibilities include country, personality, game-oriented user types, and orientations to motivation. Exemplars and extreme cases may reveal new factors. We must continue with quantitative measurement, but supplement these with qualitative approaches to answer the why question. We must also consider the when question to avoid measuring novelty effects, such as by staggering collection times. We must report negative results. These can resolve disputes and point to the research trajectories that are worth pursuing, as well as clarify the effects of gamification removal itself. We must interrogate any negative results by engaging with theory, specifying the recipients of the negative effects, and clarify the source, as well as any confounds or interactions with other factors. We can harness the wild by using readily available platforms that can provide contextual reactions from users, as well as ecologically valid longitudinal sources of big user data. Removing gamification is applicable to any gamification project, so always consider integrating measurement of removal in your research designs.